new Prime Minister, Lloyd George, keeps his discouragement to himself. Dynamic, single-minded, he orders sacrifice on the home front, restraint on the Western Front. It is his formula for taking the war out of the hands of his generals, whom he distrusts, especially the commander of the British Expeditionary Force in France, Sir Douglas Haig. Haig is a favorite of King George, but in Lloyd George's eyes, clumsy and callous about losses. He is subordinated to the new French commander, Robert Nivelle, who has sold Lloyd George on a program for victory, swift and sure. A double blow against a German salient, the British north, the French south, then breakthrough. The British attack at Arras on April 9th, 1917. Breakthrough, that old fading illusion of the generals. At the British end of the line, there is an advance of 3 miles to the heights called Vimy Ridge, where thousands of Empire soldiers have died before. Canadian troops reach it and dig in. Now it is Nivelle's turn to deliver the climactic blow. Nivelle, who promises a decisive victory in 48 hours. Never mind surprise, never mind weather. Unimportant, says Nivelle, to an army determined to conquer. It is 1914 all over again. The spirit of elan, of sheer willpower. French divisions will pour into the German salient and into a vacuum. The enemy has pulled back, shortened his lines, massed his defenses. The French run up against them and are slaughtered. Nivelle's 48 hours lengthen into 14 days. 40 divisions are reduced by 200,000 casualties. The last gasp of elan. Never again can French generals count on the spirit of heedless, mindless attack. A new spirit has taken over, mutiny. The poilu, the French soldier, refuses to attack. He walks away or sits, ignoring orders. In some units there will be riots, wholesale desertions. 54 divisions are infected by the spirit of revolt. A revolt fed by the example of revolution in Russia and by defeatist propaganda at home. Driven back to their trenches, sometimes at gunpoint, and by drumhead court-martials and executions, French troops sullenly baa like sheep being driven to slaughter. The French military establishment is shaken. The main burden now falls to the British, to the Tommy, who is also losing his taste for this bitter war. This war condemned in these lines by an officer poet, Siegfried Sassoon, wounded at Arras. I hear a voice that grieves for battle's fruitless harvest and the feud of outraged men. The British home front in the summer of 1917. A din of patriotism, a counterpoint of dissent. Distress caused by the U-boats, by the cost of living, which has nearly doubled, by the so-called comb-outs of workers to fill Army draft quotas. At war bond rallies, the slogan is, win the war. But at other meetings, the cry is, end the war. Currents of protest merge and erupt. Defying government edict, coal miners vote to go out on strike. Munitions workers will follow. Lloyd George, loathed by the military brass, suspected by the politicians, disliked by the king, is attacked as a dictator, but rallies the nation to the war effort. He summons a man exiled from British politics almost 2 years before. Winston Churchill, blamed for the disaster at Gallipoli, now installed as Minister of Munitions. Outraged by the appointment, the Sunday Times says, Winston Churchill is lacking in qualities of balanced judgment and farsightedness. The royal family is also under attack. References to an alien and uninspiring court provoke George to reply, I may be uninspiring, but I'm damned if I'm an alien. He changes the name of the royal house from its original German Saxe-Coburg-Gotha to a resoundingly British Windsor. The Windsors are on hand for a more significant change. It comes with the arrival of a naval mission from the United States, now in the war. A mission headed by Admiral William Sims. Appalled by Allied shipping losses, Sims helps convince the Admiralty that the answer to the submarine menace is a convoy system. Britain, down to its last 6 weeks of food, gives the plan a try. Within months, losses are cut in half. The harbors begin to fill. Washington is now convinced it can move a large army to France, but they are not there yet. Meanwhile, Britain's army will get the chance that Haig has been yearning for, a great offensive of its own. It will come in Flanders, the war's third attack on Ypres, called Wipers by the Tommies. Haig will attack along the ridge running from Messines to Passchendaele. The objective? Liberate the Belgian ports and end the war before the Germans break through the weakened French. At Messines, the greatest tunneling operation of World War I is underway. Welsh miners serve with the sappers as specialists. In secrecy, they drive 19 tunnels, more than 5 miles in all. They plant 1 million pounds of high explosives directly under the German positions.